0 minutes of football for a month. In the club of his life, Marcus Rashford is closer to a Man United exit than ever before. Just 2 years ago, at the start of 2023, he was in the form of his life. Fast forward 24 months, and the man, considered one of United's finest graduates, is forcing his way out. So, how did it all happen? Let's find out. To fully understand the situation here, we need to go back to the end of 2022-23. Between January and May 2023, Marcus Rashford scored a staggering 27 goals in all competitions against some of the best teams in Europe. He was in fascinating form, attracting attention like never before. He won United a trophy, scoring in the EFL Cup against Newcastle, qualified them for the FA Cup final, and helped them finish third in the Premier League, ahead of arch rivals Liverpool. Yeah, the Carabao Cup itself wasn't an out-of-this-world achievement, but it showed Rashford's determination to be one of the best in the world. And at that point, he really was one of the best. He was destined to play a key role in the team, as he has done throughout his entire time at Old Trafford, and the club owners agreed. In fact, not only did they agree, but they gave him a vote of confidence that he simply hadn't earned. That's right, the Glazers offered him one of the biggest contract extensions Manchester United has ever seen. £325,000 a week for the next 5 years. A contract that would have potentially earned him £85 million, making him the second highest earner in the current Man United squad. It was hoped at the time that this motivation would make him an even more important figure for Man United, and indeed, it was all there, on the table, until it weren't. After signing the extension in July 2023, Rashford scored his first Premier League goal of the season in a 3-1 defeat against Arsenal in September. After that, everyone who loves him and Manchester United had to wait 2.5 months to see him score again in the league, against Everton in late November. In the meantime, he didn't score any other goals in the Champions League or the EFL Cup. He finished 2023-24 with 7 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, in what was supposed to be one of the best years of his professional prime. Not only that, but that season went down as the worst on an individual level. By the start of the 2024-25 season, things couldn't get any worse for Rashford. Another striker was brought in, Joshua Zirkzee, while winger Amad Diallo was given more and more game time. Rashford was being pushed to the wall, but Erik ten Hag still had faith in him, starting Marcus in 13 out of the Dutchman's last 14 games before getting sacked. And well, in those 14 games, Rashford contributed only 7 goals or assists in all competitions. Pretty low for a man who's the second highest earner in the team. And as we come to the end of this sad story, following the arrival of Ruben Amorim, Rashford started 3 out of 6 games in all competitions, scoring 3 times. This was quite good compared to his previous 15 months at the club, as he also scored his first goal of the Amorim era against Ipswich. However, he was suddenly left out of the squad for 4 games, returning against Newcastle, but still not recording a single minute in the 2-0 defeat at Old Trafford. So, having said all that, what is the main reason for Marcus Rashford's sudden release, and where does the problem lie? Well, a whole host of pundits and specialists point to the owners as the biggest victims. Firstly, many believe that the huge salary in Rashford's new contract is not a true reflection of his performance in a Red Devil shirt, even during his peak in 2023.
He signed a contract, but he had a one-off season in terms of goals scored. His best tally in the Premier League before that was 9 goals, I believe. He had a great season, and to give him that type of contract, and I don't know whether Sir John Ratcliffe has made a decision that they want him out of the football club.
Well, it's not exactly true that Rashford's best Premier League season in terms of goals scored before 2022-23 was 9. It was actually 11 in 2020-21. But you get the point. Rashford never deserved that much money, a wage that puts him closer to one of the highest earners in the world. For example, Vinny Jr., literally one of the best, if not the best player in the world, earns £330,000 a week, which is just £5,000 more than Rashford. So yeah, all in all, Rashford undoubtedly had a fantastic 2022-23 season, but as Jamie Carragher recently said, it wasn't out of this world.
And you know another thing, people keep talking about 30 goals. Now 30 goals is a really big figure. It's not out of this world. That's never been done before in 56 games. And it's at Man United. You're at a top team who dominate a lot of games.
Yes, he scored 30 goals 2 seasons ago, which was pretty high. But the really crazy thing was that somewhere in the middle of that number, he was being tipped as the next Ballon d'Or winner. There might be some of you who don't remember that, but we remember it quite vividly. With that in mind, people really forget what crazy stats he actually produced, similar to what it felt like to watch players like Luis Suarez or Wayne Rooney, or even Radamel Falcao, scoring 35 goals year after year. And here, I'm not talking about Messi, Cristiano or Neymar, who have done that for over a decade. without any hesitation. So you get the point. It is management that has a huge influence on the situation. But Rashford's attitude is also unacceptable. For a player with his talent, his ambition, and the money he earns, it's inexplicable to score just 11 league goals, 17 months after being trusted like only a few others in history. Rashford has everything it takes to be a top 5 attacker in Europe, but the way things are going at the moment, we don't even know if he's a top 20 winger in the Prem. On top of that, he is clearly open to a move elsewhere, and a January move is the most logical at this moment, unless something drastic changes. But here is the vicious circle everyone is talking about. Man United, or more specifically, management, want him out. Marcus Rashford himself is showing signs of leaving, but his wages are far too high for any big club to agree to sign him, especially given the form he's currently in. Therefore, logic suggests the only team that would be open to signing him, no matter the circumstances, are the Saudi Pro League clubs. But here's the catch. According to reports, Marcus Rashford has no plans to accept a move to Saudi Arabia this January. The most interesting fact in this whole saga is that the time is passing and we still have no news on when and how the drama will unfold. The other possible options is a loan move to another European team, with Arsenal and Barcelona the two most likely candidates. The Gunners have been keeping a close eye on Rashford in recent months and have even been strongly linked as the next destination in his career during the summer. Raheem Sterling was eventually brought in, but Bukayo Saka's injury has put Arsenal and Rashford back in the headlines. As for Barcelona, they desperately need a sharp left winger who can carry the ball and create chances in the same way as Lamine Yamal. At the moment, coach Hansi Flick is playing Rafinha there as an inside winger, but when Yamal is out, the balance is broken and Barcelona struggle to create chances. The downside is that Barca are in a very tight financial situation and would not be able to pay Rashford's full wages. And before we finish, we need to focus more on Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Ineos itself. When we mentioned the management earlier in the video, we were mainly referring to the Glazers and the high level of trust they placed in Rashford. But Ineos also have a fair share of the blame for this whole situation. When Mr. Ratcliffe, a lifelong Manchester United fan, took over the club about a year ago, he promised the fans that he would restore the glory and put the club back where it belongs. But behind the scenes, we are still seeing the same Man United as we have seen in the past decade, underperforming, spending hundreds of millions on unnecessary players, and actually digging in deeper than ever before. I mean, what is the point of splashing 40 million on a striker who has scored 11 league goals and has only played a season and a half of top-flight football in his career? Referring to Joshua Zirkzee. The same goes for Manuel Ugarte, the boy who had 2 solid seasons in the Portuguese league, went to PSG, didn't make much of an impact there, and was sold to Man United for almost 60 million euros. These are the actions that really raise a lot of questions about the new leadership at Man United. And the biggest nonsense of all was what happened to Sir Alex Ferguson. The 82-year-old, arguably United's greatest legend, reportedly had his annual salary cut for his role as global ambassador, a position he has held since 2013. He used to receive around £2 million a year, but that will no longer be the case following Jim Ratcliffe's cost-cutting measures. So with all that in mind, Rashford is probably another victim of this, and Ineos, combined with his terrible form and huge salary, and you have the whole formula in front of you. Now, before you click onto our next video, I have 2 questions for you. Firstly, who is most to blame for this situation? And secondly, what would you do if you were in charge of Marcus Rashford's future? If you enjoyed this, subscribe to Ball Deep for more similar content, or just check out our other vid on Ruben Amorim and 8 amazing facts you didn't know about him. See you there.